I finally beat Metro Awakening, and I feel like I am equipped to give it an honest review. I have never played a Metro game before because they aren't VR, and I don't really play flat games for the most part, but I had heard of the franchise and I have had it recommended to me a few times. I just want to be clear that I'm not really familiar with the source material for this game, and I can't speak to how well it does the franchise justice. Also, I am playing on PSVR 2, even though this game is available on Steam VR and Quest standalone. The version I'm basing this review on is the PSVR 2 version. This game does have a little mirror, though honestly I didn't pay attention to it and wasn't distracted by it at all. The game also uses reprojection, which I did notice a few times, but it didn't ruin the game for me or take me out of the immersion. The game did use head haptics well, but they weren't very intense. The controller and adaptive trigger haptics and force feedback were very well integrated. Things like being able to feel the liquid sloshing in the bottle you were drinking from just made the world very convincing and added nice detail to the experience. The game also has some very cool immersive mechanics like wiping the condensation off your gas mask with your palm or grabbing a spider and crushing it in your hand. The game feels really good, and I do suspect that the PSVR 2 version is the best way to play because of things like head haptics adaptive triggers and the deep OLED blacks. Speaking of OLED display, this game has a lot of darkness and a decent amount of glowing effects in that darkness which pop in contrast on the HDR display very well. Metro Awakening takes place in a post-nuclear apocalyptic world, and people have taken to living below the surface in the subway tunnels. There are mutated animals that you will have to battle as well as enemy humans. This game is single player and story driven, and the story is good, the voice actors are great. There are a lot of times where it feels like the story just drags a little bit and nothing is skippable, but the pace does pick up as the game progresses and it's worth pushing through. There are a few puzzles, there's a lot of stealth, and there are some creepy elements as well as jump scares. And there are a lot of rather graphic corpses that have been mauled, eaten, and broken, so if those kind of things bother you, this might not be something that you will enjoy. There are some supernatural elements to the game as well. This game is very polished. The voice acting, textures, clarity, particle effects, and lighting are all top tier. While I wish the game didn't use reprojection, I can completely understand why it was needed. This is by far the most polished game that is released on PSVR 2 so far this year, and the year is basically over, so that's saying a lot. Almost every action felt intuitive and convincing. There were just a few too many body proximity mechanics though. I got a bit frustrated dealing with spiders crawling on my mask and the game grabbing the mask off instead of the spider when I tried to pull it off. Or I would reach for an item and not be able to grab it because there was a spider on my hand that I had to pull off. Sometimes when you go to grab a clip or magazine, you will grab medicine instead. And some of the tense moments got just a little frustrating because of these mechanics. I'm not trying to say it's a big deal, and it isn't. You can totally work around it. But since this is a review, I do feel like I need to point out little things like that. Also, I really feel like this is a game you should buy when you intend to play it straight through. I don't mean you have to do it in one session, but there are a bunch of little things that you can forget to do. For instance, I forgot I had a lighter, and when I remembered, I forgot that it looked like a bullet on a keychain, so I didn't recognize it on my backpack. The lighter was shown to me in the tutorial, but I didn't use it for like 6 chapters, and I had been playing other games, so when I needed it, I couldn't remember where it was or how to access it. Grabbing over your left shoulder with your left hand brings up your backpack, which has the lighter, the gas mask, and the filters, as well as your little crank generator. Grabbing over your right shoulder with your left hand grabs your vest with weapon slots to determine which weapon is equipped. Grabbing over your right shoulder with your right hand brings up your equipped main weapon, while grabbing over your left shoulder with your right hand grabs your grenades. Grabbing your right hip with your right hand brings up your pistol, and then grabbing your stomach pulls out a clip or magazine for the weapon you are holding, while grabbing at your left hip with your left hand will pull out your medicine ejector. You can also turn your headlamp on and off by interacting with your forehead. This can be a lot to remember if you haven't played in a while or started playing something else, and all of these items on you are invisible. So if you get out of the habit of playing it and come back to it, you will probably be completely confused when the action starts, and not knowing how to switch weapons or heal will probably get you killed a few times and cause some frustration. The length of the game is good. It took me about 9 hours to beat the game on my first playthrough on the normal difficulty, and that feels fair for a $40 title. This game does have a platinum trophy, and I feel it will be a rather hard one to achieve. I don't do number ratings on my game, but I will say that this is one of the top standout VR titles of 2024, and I do highly recommend it. Thank you for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and game on.